What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown Media. My name is Zach from Another Letdown and the Adjacent Hex podcast. I'll be your host this evening, and this is the show where I hang out on a Saturday night with my buddy Broody Gambit, and we work through the insane backlog of miniatures that we both have to paint. Broody, how's it going, man?
It is going wonderful. Glad to be on stream tonight painting.
Yeah, me too. It's been one heck of a week, as we mentioned yesterday on the show, but Today actually ended up being pretty good. I hung out at the store and then at home with my wife in the evening. We just watched a whole bunch of the Slash Street Boys music videos. The Merkins YouTube channel does their annual Halloween Fest stuff, which is a lot of fun. As with all the shows that we host here on the Another Letdown Media channel, we believe in civil rights for absolutely everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against that goal are not welcome and will not be tolerated. So, shall we get down to the business of painting miniatures?
I think we should.
All right. Tonight, I am finishing up this little fleet of fireflies that I started last time. That's a deep question, Kirk.
That is a very deep question.
Wow, I think we're gonna have some fun with that. Captain Kirk asks, how do I paint a mini? I've gotten interested enough in miniatures gaming that I'd like to learn, but I have absolutely no idea where to start. The extent I've done is spray painting per part on model kits. That's very fair. This is actually going to be a pretty good show for you because in addition to finishing this firefly that I started last time, I'm also going to be start to finish painting this guy, who's a character from the game Brutality. And it's really like the process in terms of the way that we do it here, as well as a lot of other painters, is fairly simple. It's undercoat, base coat, ink wash, highlight, and that's obviously pretty dumbed down. There's definitely some nuance and stuff to it, but there's depending on which paint line you go with, that can be easier or harder. I tend to use a pretty much exclusively Citadel paints because that's what's available to me. Broody uses a hybridization model of Citadel and Vallejo, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Citadel comes in these nice little paint pots. Vallejo tends to come in these little droppers. Likewise, Vallejo makes a set of air that I use for my airbrush.
Nice. So yeah, I did throw out a lot of words there. I threw out a lot very quickly, and here I'll walk you through the process. So each of the paints in the line have this colored label. So and I'm going to reference the Citadel paints because that's what I know. Citadel starts with a red coat, which is a base coat. It's a very thick, or generally thicker paint that's used to cover large swatches of area at the same time. The first thing I've done is undercoat everything with a black primer, which is just a rattle spray can. And that just puts down a surface, a consistent surface on which to apply my colors on top of. So yeah, we start with that, with the base color. And then over the top of that, you put down a very, very thinned down ink, such as our personal favorites are Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade. These are very, very runny, very, very liquid paints. You can actually, if I shake it near the mic, you can probably hear it. But it's very, very liquid, as you can see on the camera. And that just sort of fills in the crevices and cracks, as well as giving a little bit of tone to the color. So I'm actually going to start with this Celestra Gray, and we'll get into that as we go. And then as we move forward into the stream, you'll see some of the layer paints come out, as well as some dry brushing. And I'll show you what those techniques mean and how we go about applying those. I hope that's not too much for you, Kirk. There is a lot going on, and a lot of it does involve some amount of trial and error. But so right now I've done. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was about to say I've got an easy job right here. I'm starting with C-3PO.
So gold.
So since he's mostly a solid color, I'm just taking this Balthazar Gold as the base coat. It starts out as a little bit more bronzy, but as I lighten it up with various layers and stuff, as we'll get further in explaining, it'll lighten up the thing to make him look more like the goldish color that he is in the movies.
And in this case, the Firefly that I'm painting right now is the Artful Dodger, which is a turquoise. So you might be asking, why on earth are you putting down that bright white? And the reason is I'm going to use some very, very runny paints, some of those shades, to turn that white into the turquoise teal that I'm looking for. And I actually had to buy a whole bunch of new paints for this one. This is the only one of the Fireflies that I haven't done so far is this one, because I just didn't have teal in my palette at all. Last night while Adam was streaming, oh thank you, I did this is Serenity. And I think she came out pretty well. Yeah, most of what you'll hear on this stream, Kirk, is the Mega Man soundtrack. Mega Man, of course, being my personal favorite video game franchise, and I believe it's up there for you as well, Broody, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely in like the top like B probably. I think like hard and fast, like I'd have to say like Mario's probably my like top favorite video game. And outside of that, like it'd be close between Mega Man and Tomb Raider for second and third.
Sure. I think I gotta go. I mean, Mario's definitely up there, definitely top 3. I gotta go Mega Man. Legend of Zelda is probably my number 2.
So many crevices.
I get the distinct feeling that I've left my reference photo like on the table behind me. Yeah, it is indeed Firefly the board game. Yep, that is exactly correct. I have all of them sitting over here. I've got some, bigger scale Fireflies, Jetwash and Esmeralda. I've got the Reaver Cutters kicking around too. All primed, but I'm not quite ready to paint them yet. Last week on the show, I did commission work for our friend Russ, who asked me to do a ship model for him, and I was like, I haven't painted a ship since I did the Freedom Jet, like a year or 2 ago. I sort of needed to get my bearings back. I'm going to pop behind the green screen for just a second. I got to grab the reference photo. I'll be back in a moment.
You don't need a reference photo. Oh, no, I definitely still have a reference photo. But yeah,
Okay, I'm back. The chat couldn't hear that comment. Oh my god, you're already on inking. No, you're not. Oh, wait, are you?
No, yeah, I'm still getting the base coat down.
Okay. I was like, oh god, I'm behind!
Now, you see right here, I'm making the critical mistake is I'm going over with the Balthazar Gold on his left or his right leg. Which below the knee should be silver. So, like, I definitely intend to go with a Leadbelcher over this. Because, yeah, it should be silver. At least the shin part should be silver.
We should mention at this point, for Captain Kirk's benefit here, Games Workshop, because of their obsession with proprietary IPs, has really, really dumb names for their paints. So things like Balthazar Gold is pretty obviously gold, but like Leadbelcher is their go-to silver. Because they can't copyright silver.
Just like they couldn't copyright Auric.
Right.
And so they renamed it Auric. So, yeah, using this Balthazar Gold, I definitely thought it would turn out looking like really brassy, which it kind of does. But it actually doesn't look that too far off for 3PO.
No, I really think it looks kind of exactly like C-3PO. Hey, Dragon. We're doing pretty well. Just chilling and painting. And listening to Mega Man tunes. At least for the moment. Might change to something else. I just added a bunch of Sonic music, too, to the playlist as well.
Talk about a game franchise I never really got into.
Yeah, so my favorite Mega Man track, it's probably... I can tell you what my favorite Mega Man game soundtrack is. I don't really have a favorite particular tune. Game would be Mega Man 03. I love the soundtrack to 03. And as such, it does come up on the playlist a little bit more frequently than other songs, but... Cutman stage is really good. Woodman stage is really good. And there's a lot of really good soundtrack stuff in the Mega Man franchise. So as far as the answer that isn't Storm Eagle is wrong. That's fair. Storm Eagle's really good soundtrack. Addressing Captain Kirk's comment above about this game being one to inspire painting. Yeah, I get that, man. The miniatures are surprisingly really good. Like, I didn't really... Mega Man 2 Wily 1 is also very good. They're very detailed for being kind of like low quality plastic models. I don't particularly care for the game. I think it's pretty broken, to be perfectly honest, but that may just come from having played it a lot. Sorry, the Firefly miniatures game. Or Firefly board game, rather. My friend kind of broke it early, and like she always does exactly the same thing, to the point where we had to like have a separate strategy meeting and be like, how do we beat this strategy? And the answer is Space, River, and Simon. Like, Pirates and Bounty Hunters, get that expansion going, and immediately find and space River and Simon. But yeah, the models are sick, and none of my playgroup have painted miniatures for this game, so I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna go do this now, and it's gonna be cool. So here I'm just, this is Leadbelcher, that's that one we were just talking about. I'm just kind of arbitrarily painting some panels silver. And what this is going to do, once we put some blending and stuff on it with the layer paints, is it's going to make the ship look weathered and rusty. Firefly's notoriously, of course, sort of junker craft. And like, I'm not really super concerned about where the weathering shows up, just so much as there is some. because I'm also going to hit it with a dry brush of silver later on. Yeah, that's fair. But the models are sick, and I was really happy to, like, when I was looking for a ship model to do, I was like, oh. Yeah, it's some extra paints in kind of every layer. So like here, this is the back panel that kind of folds out. I'm just gonna touch that with a little bit. You'll notice I'm not really going into the holes and whatever. I'll do it a little bit here. But again, like I'm leaving some of that dark, which will... I am also one of those people, Kirk. I don't like games hitting the table if they're not painted, if they've got miniatures. I've got some pretty big ticket games on the shelf behind me, where I just popped around to, that are unpainted, and yeah, that's the sole reason they have yet to hit the table. Is this? I'm embarrassed by the unpainted minis. A little bit of this.
I think we both have Gotham City Chronicles.
We do. That's coming up real soon for me.
Yeah. I think TMNT like really fills that void of that style of game.
Yeah, like I mean, I still gotta get you guys to teach me AOGS because I want to do the FP characters. All right, yeah. Well, okay, RPD and I both want to do that. RPD couldn't join us tonight. It's a little bit of a bummer. He was looking forward to it, but something came up.
Okay, so I made a decision here.
Okay.
I decided to do R2-D2 with ceramic white.
Yep.
Instead of like an ivory or anything else like that. So he's going to be really, really white.
Yeah.
It looks fine for right now. We'll see how washing and stuff comes out, but...
Mm-hmm. I mean, worst case scenario, you can throw some, like, Earthshade or Sepia over the top.
Yeah, I was thinking Sepia over him.
Mm-hmm. So, Kirk, to elaborate on my answer before, there's a couple of different ways you can do weathering. This method that I'm using... Uh-oh. Oh! I missed a spot, and I'll have to address that. This method that I'm using is like an all-encompassing one. I recently did some Gears of War minis that all the weathering technique came at the very end, which was pretty cool. I really liked the way they came out. And I think part of that is the difference between man and machine, if you'll excuse the expression. Humans tend to make themselves dirty, where machines tend to get dirty over time. So the dirt kind of runs a little bit deeper in machines than it does on humans. And again, I'm not really going particularly specific here. I'm just kind of putting some splotches down where I want the weathering to be. I'm also going to put down some brown for a little more hardcore weathering. I know that I got some of the model kits to look weathered by spraying black under a different darker paint. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The dark undercoat. So, like, I use a dark undercoat for almost everything. You'll notice Broody does not. He uses the white. And that's just all personal preference.
Yeah, it depends. I have both white and black, and it, like if I'm doing like R2-D2 that is mostly white, or Storm or Clone Troopers that are mostly white, I'll use the white base. Mm-hmm. But if I'm using like Batman or something else that's dark, I'll use the black. Mm-hmm. So it depends on like what the base palette is supposed to be.
Yeah, I most of the stuff that I paint tends to be sort of grimdark. The Gears of War minis, for example, are a perfect example of that. Brutality, ships. And I was having a discussion with Christopher from Greater Than Games back at PAX Unplugged last year. I mentioned this a couple times on the show, that I don't think I could ever do the Scott Pilgrim minis because I just don't think in that like brightly colored comic book way.
Mm-hmm.
And he agreed. Like he said that's a pretty easy trap to fall into.
Yeah.
I would definitely say black undercoat for standard sci-fi color ships. Kirk, yeah, for sure. Definitely. All right, so I'm gonna throw down a little bit of brown, just a touch brown. This is another one of our perennial favorites. This is Mornfang Brown, which is sort of just like a fur color, usually. On Serenity, I used like more of a khaki, but I used the darker brown on, was it Bonnie May? Yeah.
So right now, I've done the white.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you'll notice, there are also various brush sizes that are also important.
Oh yeah, I hadn't gotten to that yet.
Like I have a really large wide one that when I'm going over the solid white or the solid gold, like yeah, I can just use the big one. Right now, I'm starting to get to finer detail, so I have like a much smaller brush. Like I'm focusing on just R2-D2's dome. So I can kind of hit just what I want to hit without going over and hitting things I want to keep away.
Yeah, so I'm using Citadel standard base or small base brush, because I'm hitting it with that second coat of undercoat. When I did the gray, the initial gray, I did use a much bigger brush, just so I could cover, more area at once. And once again, just like with the silver, I'm just kind of throwing it down, see where it lands. A lot of this will disappear when I dry brush it, but it's just kind of seeing where we're at. I'm gonna pop it out of the paint handle for a second and just inspect the bottom. A little bit here and there. Yep, that's exactly correct. Make it look a little more like it's falling apart. And again, a lot of that will come out in the dry brushing phase too. Just to give an example of what that kind of does to it. This is Bonanza, and you can see the color differences in the green. You can see some. I think there's a red spot there. I don't know how close I can get this without it losing focus, but like right there. If you wanted to do a military ship like an Alliance ship, yeah, I would still like. There's still some weathering. Like right when when a ship breaks atmo, it's going to take some amount of damage. So that's where your dry brushing is going to come into play. Basically, what you're going to do, an Alliance ship like that would probably just be a flat gray, then a black wash, which is what I'm about to do here, or what I'll do very shortly, and then a dry brush of what I use Terminatus stone. You could probably use a number of other things, and I'll show you how that works once the inks are dry. But the first thing I need to do here is tint the white parts, because they're supposed to be a teal. And what I'm going to do with that is there's these special technical paints that GW released. They're really just heavier toned ink washes that tint color. I could, go as far as to grab, like I have this Sybarite green, which is more or less, I can show you the corner of the tile, more or less the color that I'm looking for, ultimately. But I want to try it with the technicals, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back with the layer paint. Just gotta figure out which order they go in. There is a very convenient Citadel Color paint app that I use. Broody, I don't know if you've tried it yet, but
I have not. I need to download that app.
yeah, it's super cool. I use basically you can take a photo of literally anything, run it through the app, and it tells you exactly what colors to paint. So like, the Brutality Mini that I've got waiting in the wings here that I'm going to do in a second. There's full art for him. So I've just taken that artwork, run it through the app, and it tells me exactly what colors to paint. So it's... Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. Green, then blue, is what it says. So I'm going to start with the Hexwraith Flame. I'm going to use a... Normally I use a big old brush for inking. I'm going to try it, and we'll see where it goes with it. So again, very, very wet paint. Takes forever to dry, forever in a day. And now I've lost my brush. Go me. Where the heck did that go? Oh, bother. It's in my ear. No, it's not. That's not the right one.
Paintbrush is in your ear.
Well, I jam it when I'm moving things around on my desk. I jam the paintbrush in my ear. Or under my headphones. Alright, where did that brush go? Citadel Color, the app. Yes, indeed. It's color spelled with a U, though. Yeah, you got it.
Because it's a British company.
Apparently brushes bounce. Who knew? Alright, so just got a glob of this paint on my brush. We're going to go right over the white area. Oh, that's super cool. I like that a lot. No. It's totally... I mean, that's why we're doing this, man. We want to share our skills.
R2, why do you have two?
And we do take commissions also, so if you have something that you're particularly keen to get on the table, we do that as well.
Of course. I missed a spot. Because that's life.
Yep. You will find that as you watch these, Broody and I miss spots fairly frequently. There's probably some word for that, like painter's plight or something like that. But
now for the fun one, the blue. I'm going to an even smaller brush.
so I'm putting these shades down, and then I'm going to let that sit while I work on the other. Yeah, oh, absolutely. The app is super cool. It's got shopping lists and stuff built into it. I absolutely adore it. I use it for everything. And the fact that this is the line that we support at the store that I work at makes it very convenient, because I can just make my shopping list, go up to the shelf, get what I need, go home. There's no dilly-dally. Unless my boss decides to talk at me. Which he loves to do. It's kind of his thing. Alright, so we got this kind of ghostly green down. Just doing some patching here. Thank you. I'm quite fond of it. Wait till we get the blue down. It's going to look even better. I mean, hopefully. Oh, excuse me. Hopefully we don't have to do learning and growing on that. Hopefully I'm not just a Bonzi buddy. Yeah, okay, so we're going to let that sit for a minute, and we're going to start in base coating the other guy. I'm going to use a different painting handle for that, so I can just put the whole unit off to the side. We'll give that just a couple minutes. We'll do one base coat on this new guy here.
So one of the benefits of what I did right here is because RGB2 is a robot, surprise, I painted the entire dome a silver color to match his like actual silver dome, but I'm starting to paint a color on top of that, so that color also tends to adopt a minor amount of like that metallic sheen, even though it is a different color. So like this blue will come up and look more like a metal-y blue.
Oh yeah.
Theoretically, that is the plan.
Theoretically. Famous last words, Broody.
Yes, very very last words. If I put on the paint too thick, it'll sometimes cover that up and not come through as much.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like very lightly.
It's looking great though.
Yeah.
Okay, that wash brush out of the water. So I'm just going to start with this guy's flesh while we wait for that ink layer to dry. So that's just his hands and his face, I believe. Yes, indeed. We got a dark gray overcoat, red sash, white sort of shirt thing. Okay. Yeah, so I need... I'm gonna use the medium base brush, or my standard base brush here, which is actually a little bit older, but I like it a lot. One of the things you'll see me at least do a lot, I'll get paint on my brush and then wipe a lot of it off on this little palette here. That just allows me to sort of control the flow. It does make for like having to go back for more paint more frequently, but it's worth it in the long run. It's a technique I picked up very recently. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Man. So, as long as they're detachable, it's not that difficult. You just detach them, prime them separately, and once they're primed, you can put them right on the base and just be careful. If you're worried about paint getting on the base, hey Chamali. Good to hear from you, man.
You can,
just throw some frog tape over them, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Because some of the things like these droids that I was working on, I actually painted them with my airbrush while they were still on the sprue. While they were attached, I just used the airbrush to go over them. That way, like this plasticky shield bit does not. Didn't get painted over, essentially. I just assembled them after the fact.
Right.
When I have things like these jet troopers that have like these clear stands that have them levitate, it's same deal with like my snow speeder and a couple other ships I have. I'll just wrap those in painter's tape.
Yep.
Do all the painting and then just peel it off, and it still has that. It's still clear.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much all the models that I'm working on right now are are in one way static or another, or in one way or another static. So most of them are pre-attached to their bases. You'll hear me complain a lot. Broody can attest to this, and actually Chamali might be able to also. That these models were probably not made with painting in mind. These Brutality minis especially, like they're just it's next to impossible to get the brush to go where you want it to go. Recently, I did one with it was a woman with her child on her back, and I was like, there is actual no way that you can hold this model and actually get the brush to go where you want it to go. It's an actual physical impossibility.
And the inverse of that is also true. Very frequently, I'm complaining, why the hell did I put these minis on the base already when I didn't have to?
Right.
Or why did I really assemble these minis?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. So again, with this base coating step, I'm not worried too much about making mistakes. They're going to get cleaned up later, either by other base coat colors or the ink wash process. And I will say that discovering Nuln Oil is a huge level up. You'll be like, where has this been all my life? Alright, I do need to downgrade my brush size here for his face. I had a model where 2 people were standing back to back, painting the back of their legs is horrible. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that comes down to, like, the Gears of War minis especially, like, it was before, just like slightly before the big board games with miniatures boom. So at the time, Fantasy Flight was like, we're on the cutting edge of this thing! And I bought the game and I was like, I need to paint these, and I don't want to because it's going to be a pain in the butt. But that's fine. Like, we did it, and it was great. And they came out great. Like, I'm actually really, really proud of them. So much so that, like, for the first time in my life, I made custom foam inserts for the box so I didn't damage the minis. Most of my minis go right into the cabinet at the store, or just sit on the table forever behind me. It's forehead. So this guy's actually going to end up having very dark skin, but the app told me to start with Bugman's Glow, so that is what I'm starting with. Alrighty. The other side of his face here. I'll start with his ear because it's there. I can see it, sort of.
I'm fine.
And the other thing to note, Kirk, is the first couple models you do while you're still finding your feet, you're going to find, oh, hey, I don't have that color, or, oh, this looks like crap, or whatever. Don't be afraid to chuck your models in the brake fluid. Like, once you get a few, like, do some, and then as you start to get better, you'll realize, oh, these first models I did were garbage, they were bad. Don't be afraid to chuck them in the Simple Green or the brake fluid and remove the paint and start over. I've done it on many. Brake fluid, yeah, brake fluid is like a super awesome paint remover. We did an entire company of Space Marines in an afternoon using brake fluid. It's a little more expensive than Simple Green, but it does...
Yeah, I've never heard of any of those. I usually end up just using acetone.
Oh, yeah. Yes, like car brake fluid.
Oh, yeah, I use like nail polish remover.
Yeah, that works, but for water-based paint, it tends to corrode the model. In my experience, which is admittedly limited because I just read turn signals on a Land Raider and was like, oh, brake fluid, great. Sounds perfect. And I went out and immediately bought a giant can of brake fluid, threw a bunch of Space Marines in it, and they came out all fine. And I was like, perfect! Alright, let's see how that ink wash held up. Put this boy aside. I don't even know what his name is. Dude, I loved Turn Signals on the Land Raider when I was in high school. Like, we lived for that comic. That and Pure Ownage, the web series. I actually had the opportunity to meet the guys who did Pure Ownage a couple of years ago, and they were super cool. Alright, so Nighthaunt Gloom is the name of the blue tone that I'm about to throw down here. Always risky opening one of these cans because they have a locking mechanism on them, so you can't tamper with them before you buy them. And if you pull it open just wrong, it goes everywhere. And being that I'm at my computer with, you know, screens and cameras and lights and other computers and stuff, paint going everywhere, not the best.
I've had that with I've ruined a pair of pants at least.
Oh yeah.
From wash, where it's just like snapped open and okay, there goes those pants.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that is not bad at all. Okay. I was very, very worried with what I was just typing into my search bar.
Oh no! What did you type in?
Well, I was looking for a wraparound of R2D2 because I need to see what the back like the back of his like barrel looks like.
Yep.
So I typed in R2D2 from behind, and I was like, "Oh god, this is gonna be terrible."
Oh god, that's getting into Rule 34 territory.
Yes, but however, it did not. I found a lot of good wraparound pictures, so I can see like all of the different like angles of his struts and
yeah, that's awesome.
Get
that's
good
good
pictures.
Speaking of the struts, oh my god, the new struts record is so fire. It's so good. I don't know if I've ever talked about the struts with you, Broody, but like, they're basically my new favorite band. They're kind of like the My Chemical Romance meets Queen.
Okay.
With a little bit of like David Bowie.
That is a combination.
They are so good. Ha! If it moves and it shouldn't, add struts. If it doesn't move and it should, add boosters. I love it. So normally my if it moves and it shouldn't is if it moves and it shouldn't, duck it. If it doesn't move and it should, WD-40. For everything else, baling twine.
Yep. Yeah, me and Casey got a lot of good jokes about that, the meme of WD-40 versus duct tape, and as an engineer, she like wholeheartedly agrees with that assessment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As the fact that she at one point in time was in charge of design repairs for airplanes.
Oh, is she not doing that anymore?
What?
Is she not doing that anymore? Or am I just confused?
When we lived in South Carolina, she did like structural airframe and stuff like that to
gotcha.
Get like old FedEx planes into firefighter planes.
Yep.
And then they never got paid, and so California's still on fire.
Yeah.
But now she does like furniture stuff.
That's
like,
right. Okay.
Design. She works for like the premium first class, where like if you get a ticket, it's like $50 grand.
Yeah.
But it's like having a train cabinet in an airplane.
Yeah. So, nailed it.
Artful Dodger.
Look at that color. Absolute perfection.
Mm-hmm.
I am blown away. All right, so we will let that dry one more time while we do another color on little guy here, and then we will do the black ink wash on that, and then dry brushing, and we'll call it good. Artful Dodger almost done. Okay, wonderful, great, dope.
The tedious part.
do next?
Like all of the like random wiring and lights and stuff on R2 and 3PO.
Yeah.
So just there's lots of different colors for just like pull out and just do a tiny little bit and then you're done.
So these construction guides list base coat, details, and shades, washes, and inks as the 3 types of paint. Base coat is... okay. So that is a common common hurdle to jump over when you're just beginning. Base coat and primer are 2 very different things. Primer is that, like, bare bones, like, first layer. The only thing the primer does, other than tone the model, is give the paint something to stick to. Naturally, models don't... or paints don't stick to models. The primer serves as that job.
It's like a super sticky paint.
Mm-hmm.
Have the blue out.
Yes. All right, you know what? Mornfang Brown it is. There's a lot of stuff going on in this model. So I'm, like, having trouble deciding what to do next. My ADD is going nuts. But
yeah,
that'll be fine. Do I want this? No, I definitely don't. Oh, I just need my base coat brush. Herder.
Wires.
Dude, those wires are gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, I was about to say, any super hardcore fan that's gonna, like, harangue me about,
that wire is supposed to be blue, yeah.
No, go yourself at that point in time.
No, that's where you just shove them out a 3rd-story window. Like, that's too nitpicky.
Yeah. Quag flesh.
Wow! Flesh.
You need to figure out to cut the red or the blue one, but no one ever gives the green wire any credit.
Isn't there like one random green wire?
Probably. I don't know. I'm gonna have 2 random green wires.
Because you can.
Nah, they look like it's mostly just like red and some are white.
Oh, okay.
Oh, idea.
Okay. Brody's got brainwave.
I got a brainwave.
Did it hurt? First of all, did it hurt?
It didn't hurt, but red arm.
Oh, are you gonna do that?
I might do that.
Oh,
and it completely throws out everything out of the, like, the model's designed to be used for, in Legion with either the Clone Wars or the, Rebels.
Yeah.
From, like, the OT. But I could potentially do Red Arm 3PO.
So, come with me on this journey.
Uh-huh.
If you do Red Armed 3PO, do it with a red ink wash.
Yeah.
I think that would look super dope. Kirk, this is called a paint handle. I don't normally use one. I usually do the way Birdie does. But just to keep my hands out of the shot.
Yeah.
That's why. I gotta send you a painting handle. We finally got more in, so.
Yep, I'm going for it. Red Arm.
Do it!
I was just talking to a friend today about how much I liked the story arc, like prequel to Force Awakens, where they gave gave 3PO the Red Arm, and how he got it, and how it was such a great character building moment, and then they completely crapped on it by like fixing it by the end of Force Awakens. And like when I first saw Force Awakens, I was like, that red arm was stupid and I didn't like it until I understood the significance of it.
Yep.
And then I was like, that was really good, and then they completely ruined it by fixing it right away.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And yeah, most definitely red wash over this part.
Yep. Hey, Ian. On the topic of getting holding minis while painting them, I've seen a host of different mounts to a holder, a lot of which fit bottle caps or corks. So I'm using the Citadel paint handles, which are dumb amounts of expensive, but like again, so without officially sponsoring this show, because my boss would never do that. Anyway, my boss does kind of support the show in one way or another. So he asked me to use the Citadel paint handle instead of something else, and I was like, sure, fine, great, whatever. I have infinite credit and can do that.
A lot of people I've seen will like glue the minis to the tops of like old pill bottles, things like that.
Yeah, before I sent Adam a paint handle, or I don't know if I sent him to her or Christopher did. I don't remember. One of us did. He used a pill bottle and some like blue putty.
Yeah,
and that works really well. I asked because Drop Fleet Commander minis can be assembled in a number of ways, and I was thinking of magnetizing them for options, but if it's notably better to paint them after assembly, then I'll probably... Okay, interesting question. So I have a model that I'm working on right now, and have been for a very, very long time. It's involving a lot of green stuff, and it's stressing me out. I actually just put magnets in the base, too. And, you know, I still painted assembled, and I just do it in different ways, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's not a great answer, but yeah. All right, there's the brown put down. Not super thrilled with that. But yeah, I have a couple of magnetized minis that I'm quite fond of. And basically what I ended up doing, I think last time, was just like put it together in a configuration, paint it, then make a few changes, and then paint it again, and just make everything match up. It works. On the topic of Star Wars, there's a lot of questionable decisions made in those writing and editing rooms. Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
Blame Kathleen Kennedy.
That's a topic that we've beaten to death.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, both here and on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Put him aside for a minute, and we'll get to the fun part of painting this Firefly. So now that all the shades have set, at least I hope they have. Yeah, they seem to have. I am going to hit this whole model with a bunch of Nuln Oil. That's going to flow into the cracks and crevices and make things pop a little bit better. We'll just do the whole dang model. Once again, big brush, bunch of paint on it, and just kind of slather.
Tell you one thing, 3PO's eyes are a lot easier than most of the eyes I usually do.
Do you have any of the glazes?
No, I've only got shades, dries, layers, and bases.
Okay, yeah, they're a little bit older. Because I was gonna say, you gotta make those eyes glow. That eerie 3PO glow.
Yeah.
So did you just use yellow?
Yeah, I just did the Averland. I'll probably hit it with a Glitz Yellow or something.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Uriel Yellow, one of the two.
Yep.
Sorry, it's not Glitz Yellow, it's Flash Gets Yellow.
Yeah, it gets yellow.
There's no L. Once again, crazy names, hard to keep track of all of them.
Absolutely.
So, 3PO, I want Sepia with the Crimson for the red arm. I think I just go straight Null Oil with R2D2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if you wanted him to look dirty or not.
Yeah, I'll hit with something like... He's got so many vents and other stuff like that that needs the dark, like the really dark black anyway.
Yeah.
Probably try and do him really light.
Is base coating what Mike started the stream on for 3PO? Yes. And it's what I'm doing with the Duder, as opposed to the Firefly. And it's technically what I started with too. It just I was doing a little bit more detail base coating.
Yeah, pretty much everything I was doing was base coating, and it's just depending on which body part. So like I started with a solid color for 3PO, and then just added a little bit of accents in with R2. I started with the solid white and added a couple more just thin layers of base coat for detail colors.
So it's not. That's a tough question to ask because like everything starts with a base coat. Everything starts with a base coat. But like when we say details in terms of base coating, we're talking about like R2's blue spots or the red dot. Like that's still a base coat of paint, but it is also a detail. Does that make sense?
So yeah, right now I'm going through with the wash. Like Zach said, it's super runny. And so it just kind of flows into cracks where there should be, it should be darker, and there should be shading.
So when they say detail paints, they usually mean layers. Layers are a little bit runnier, a little bit lighter. They're actually semi-transparent, so some of the base coat color comes through. And man, because we're doing teaching stuff today, I'm kind of regretting my choice of model because I'm about to throw caution to the wind. But oh, you know what?
So,
some corn.
I'm not sure how well it's showing up, but like I said, it's runny, and so it's tending to fall. Like the black is falling into the recesses along the edges.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And so that's what the wash does, and it like causes the details to pop more.
Yeah.
Likewise, it's also falling into the vents, so you actually see like the lines of the vents and.
Mm-hmm. And it shows up a lot better on the lighter models. Like me working on dark gray is like not ideal for showing the ink wash off. But he's working over a white, so it's pretty noticeable.
And likewise, there are also two methods to doing this. The method that I'm doing, and what I tend to usually do, is you just lather a coat over the entire thing.
Yep.
And just let the wash flow into all of the crevices. And the drawback is it's faster and easier, but it does tend to darken up your entire model a little bit.
Yes.
So if you're doing that, plan for that and like paint the initial coats a little bit lighter than you want them. There are some people who do this and will take like a more fine detail brush and will like just hit the recesses that they want colored.
Yep.
And so it hits differently, but takes a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. So a wash is like lining, but you don't have to discriminate about where you put the ink. Yes. Yeah. That is exactly correct. And so, like, I've been painting long enough to remember when washes existed but didn't work. And so I had to do everything the old-fashioned way by properly lining them, and it was an absolute nightmare pain. And when I discovered Null and Oil, which was like the first wash that I had that worked and did its job, I was like, oh my god, this is the best. And like, I was initially resistant to it because of how badly they worked when I was first introduced to them.
So in terms of shades, like that was a Null and Oil, which is pretty much just a black. We also very frequently use Agrax Earthshade, which is a brown, depending on like how you want them to look like. Especially, for instance, if you're painting a knight for D&D and use chainmail, you can just do the black over it to get like more of a shadow. But if you want more of a grimy, like he's been in like fighting and he's dirty, like the brown also goes over that and will help it look good.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do now is use more of a like specific colored shade that will add different types of detail. So I'm using the red over the red, so it'll be like a darker red from the wash in the crevices, and then the sepia will be darker in the gold.
Yeah.
But they have like blues, greens, whatever color you want. They also have washes in that way, so you just get more of a shading effect than kind of a special effect.
Yeah. So I will note, I pulled him off the painting handle and brought him a little closer to my person, because with him on the painting handle, I couldn't quite see what I was doing. And we do have to do that every now and again. I mean, part of that, I'm handicapping myself by putting this microphone in front of me. When I initially concepted the show, I was like, oh, I could like run the microphone over the top or something, and then I like tried to set it up that way, and I was like, oh wait, I'm obscuring the camera. This is not going to work. All right, there's the red bit. Null and Oil's not quite dry yet, so we'll keep going on him for a little bit here. I will do his beard. This paint is not going to work at all, is it? It's the Ceramite white. It's all clumpy and gross. And it's probably going to stink when I open it.
That's what I use on R2.
Okay. This is a giant maybe. I'm gonna go for it. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. It actually works.
What? The white?
Yeah.
What are you trying to paint right now?
His hair.
Okay.
It's going to require multiple coats, I think, but... Primer the whole things first, then base coat the big color patches and the smaller patches that are notably different colors, then use a layer to make the base coat the exact shade I want. Throw a wash over the whole thing. I would reverse the wash and layer.
Yeah. Like, stop me if I'm, well, I guess I'm not necessarily wrong, it's just how I usually do it. I start with the obviously you prime it, then you base coat it. After basing it and getting the colors how you like it, that's when I usually apply the wash.
Yep.
After washing, like I dry brush,
Mm-hmm.
which is another technique where you start with a little bit of paint, and they make special dry brushes that are really like light to do this. And you kind of brush off as much as you can, and then you just lightly hit wildly over pretty much the entire model, or at least the areas that you're wanting to hit certain colors.
Yep.
Like for 3P, I'm going to do like a separate red dry brush over the one arm and gold over the rest of his body.
Yep.
And then I use the layers at the end to just hit the very edge highlights of like where the dry brush effects are.
Yep. That's exactly how I do it.
Yeah. And then some people seal their minis. I don't, because I think it like ruins a lot of the colors.
Yeah, the sealant, especially the Games Workshop makes, it just clouds things over. I will use it on commissions if people ask for it. Like it's in my survey, it's like, do you want this model to be hit with sealer? Warning, it may wash out the colors.
I am very pleased with that wash job on 3PO.
Nice. Could I get more about the dry brush and layers then? Yes. Yep. I will be getting to that in literally like as soon as the ink wash is dry on the Firefly. I will be getting into that stuff. So stand by for that. Oh my God, stick.
Yeah, that's the problem is washes take forever to dry because they're so runny. So
Yeah. It's almost there though.
yep. I am going to actually dry brush some of these old commando droids.
Yeah.
I had not gotten to that spot, so I did them not in the same like Balthazar Gold. I have a I don't even know what it is. It is some sample of, I don't know. I got like a Reaper Mini and they sent me a free bottle of paint.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's like this really dark goldish color. Or like or I guess maybe even a lighter gunmetal color.
Yep.
And I really like it for specific things. So, in this case, as opposed to a lot of my actual paintbrushes, you can see they come to a nice fine tip. The dry brush is a little bit wider and more frayed, I guess is the right word for it.
Yep. Absolutely is.
So I'm going to reach into this pot of Sigmarite, which is like a gold. You can see that this is probably a little too dry. It's more of like a putty almost.
Yeah, my Terminatus stone is the same way, but it works great, so I'm not going to complain.
I guess you can't see me do this off screen, but I am like brushing off a little bit. I tend to test on my hand.
Yeah, I do too.
The gold doesn't as much, but you can, like, if you go where you have wrinkles, you can kind of see if it's only hitting the highlights. You're good. And then I'm just going to lightly brush over pretty much most of the model.
Yep.
Focusing primarily on like raised locations where like light will be hitting it more frequently.
Yep.
Just stimulate that, or not stimulate, simulate that sunlight.
Right.
Or at a light source of some kind. And I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on camera. Yeah, it's not really showing up too well to just the naked eye of like the lighter bits along the tops of the head and things that I've been doing. It's very, very minor.
Right.
But with the base coat that these guys already are.
So I have given up on the white at this point. I'm fixing some of the details with gray. Like a very, very light gray, just because I'm fed up with the white. I have to go back and redo a bunch of the flesh tone. For some reason, some of the Games Workshop paints just die immediately. All of our Ceramite white at the store are clumped, and I keep telling the boss, he's like, "Nah, they're fine."
I just recently like went to like the sink and just added in like 4 drops of water.
Well, that's the problem. Is they're both clumped but also watery.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this? This is just plain madness.
It's a stupid sniper. I complained about this mini, just the design of having the sniper running last week.
So here I'm just going back and patching up some of these areas that I slopped white. Oh, and of course I'm off camera, so you can't actually see what I'm doing. Alright, how's Artful Dodger doing? Alright, I think it's time to dry brush that too. Let's do it! Let's get him back on the thing so I don't knock him over. So what I'm dry brushing with is not one of the dries. I looked into it today. I looked into the silver dry brush paint is called Necron Compound, and I hate it. It's too bright. So I'm instead using a layer called Ironbreaker, and the technique is the same. The layer paints are runny, just like any other paint that you would expect, but they do work pretty well with dry brushing. So I'm also using a somewhat destroyed, damaged, frayed brush, and you know, I'll get a little bit of paint on the brush here, and use this incredibly old paper towel to just kind of dab off a bunch of that. Similar to Broody, I'll use my thumb as like as an extra canvas, and then just kind of gently over the surface of the model. And this provides a little bit more of that weathering effect that I was talking about. I'm being careful to sort of avoid the green bits, because obviously we worked hard on those, where you don't want to lose too much of the color on those. Oops. That happens sometimes too.
coats.
And obviously, the more you go over something with a dry brush, the more pronounced that color is going to become. But realistically, for the most part, you just kind of want to get the edges.
And I was debating going over actually with a layer on these guys, but I may not. Like some of the edges are like slightly more goldish now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I kind of like, you know, like I don't want to like highlight too much because they are like commando stealth droids. I don't need like a bright gold one running around.
Right.
Just enough gold on top of it for some like depth.
Yep, that's fair.
I might end up just call these guys dumb.
Oh yeah. So here's the actual use of a layer paint. I've got this Sybarite green here that I'm just gonna put a little bit on the green bits just to sort of accent them a little bit. And I'm going to use a pretty darn small brush here. It's a small layer brush. And we're just going to go over. Again, roughly, because we want some of the bottom colors to show through.
And so, in another shocking tale of how our phones are listening to everything we say, after playing Buffy last night and mentioning the various Buffy board games and Buffy Legendary, I just got an email from Miniature Market. It's like, hey, you want Buffy Legendary?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, did my mic go out again?
No, I heard you.
Okay.
I said, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You know, I never know what to make of that whole your phone is always listening thing. Because, like, most people I know have had trouble with it. Maybe I'm just not noticing it, but, like, my phone always seems to think that I'm on a different planet. Or that it's on a different planet than me. Because the targeted advertising that it gives me is not relevant to me most of the time. Just the little back fins to go here.
I don't like that idea. Not doing that one.
What's that?
I pulled out the Terminatus stone for R2, but I don't think that's white enough.
Oh,
I think
it is very white.
I'm going to use White Scar and like dry brush that on.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to use Terminatus stone. Like literally right now. And then we will call this Firefly complete. I don't know why I shook it. It's dry as desert. So once again, dry paint. looks like that. Barely paint at all. Pigment might be more accurate. Oh, what did I just do that for? That was stupid.
I remember this the last time I painted an R2-D2. Trying to dry brush around all of the random blue bits.
Oh no. I got too much on here.
I will just hit blues with a layer. To show up how I want them. And the other thing I did on the last time I did an R2-D2 was hit it with Necron as the brush, as opposed to like actually trying to do like the white and blues and all the other stuff. Just to give like a metal sheen as the highlight, but
yeah, I don't love that.
I thought it turned out pretty well, but I'm trying something different.
Yeah, this I like better than Necron Compound. This one's coming out great.
Calgar or Calgar is a little lighter.
So you're looking between Calidor Sky and
Calgar Blue and Althor Guard Blue are my two layers.
I would go with I would go with the Althorf Guard Blue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It being a little bit darker matches the handling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna bring in a little Cantor Blue here for the windscreen. Keep it consistent with the other Fireflies I've done. Once again, we realize that we've missed a spot. Or I realize that I missed a spot. Little bit of yellow, or Averland Sunset. Gods forbid they call it Averland Yellow. Alright. Just a glaze on that to go. Oh, and a little bit of highlighting on the blue. I am also going to use a lighter blue. the one I used was Halcyon Blue, I hope. Go. All right. Blaze the engines and this Firefly is done.
I am content with R2D2.
Yeah! Oh man, that looks fantastic.
I lied. I am not content.
What'd you forget?
Get my even tinier brush.
Well, I am content with Artful Dodger.
So I had to get a little bit, his little red eye dot a little brighter.
Oh, sure. I don't know. This may be the Firefly that I'm proudest of. Most proud of. I just like the way the colors accent it, like, basically perfectly.
Get that out of you.
Bring them all into this frame here. Oh, that's not quite all into the frame here.
Nope. Back to the drop rush.
So many Fireflies.
All of the Fireflies.
All of them. Well, not all of them. There's still Jetwash and Esmeralda left, but they're bigger and words. Anyway, let's move these out of the way and bring the other guy back in here. Oh my god, he looks fantastic with the red arm.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I pulled out my phone to look up my reference image and then immediately looked at Discord and then put it away. Oh. Okay. Wow, he just got way easier.
What?
The suggested color for his black overcoat is black. It goes right to dry brushing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's just Abaddon black and then go nuts with dry brushing. So, I guess with that in mind, I'm going to go right to Rhinox hide. No, I'm going to go Dryad bark. For pants! Painting the pants!
He doesn't need pants.
Who needs pants?
Sorry, cat.
What's that?
Cat's on my feet.
Oh.
He kind of rolled over and...
My cat was so fascinated by paintbrushes last week. I had Monday off, so I was like, alright, I'm going to bang through some of these fireflies. And Nico decided that the paintbrushes sticking up out of my paint tray were the most amazing thing he had ever seen in his life. And then his brother swatted him in the face, and he got distracted. So
now for a touch of Asterath Red. This is probably like the soupiest dry brush I own.
the what?
The Asterath Red.
Oh yeah.
It's like super runny as opposed to most of the other dry brushes are like
Yeah.
a clay type thing.
Yeah, I made that same mistake with Asterath Red. Also, the Thunderhawk Blue is very similar. I hope everything's alright with RPD. He messaged me kind of sad that he wasn't going to be able to be here tonight. I know he had a plan ready, too. I'll have to check in with him in the morning. So, Darkwing Duck episode of DuckTales on Monday.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm so excited.
I'm sure. I'm chugging along on the original.
Yeah.
Um,
There are bits of it that are a slog.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm still enjoying it, but yeah, there are definitely some episodes where it's just like, what was the point of that one?
Yeah, exactly. It suffers from what I now refer to as It's Always Sunny syndrome. Where literal nothing gets accomplished.
Yeah. And there are some that, like, I watched most of them as a kid. Like, I have them on DVD, so I've watched them, like, more recently, like in college or something like that. There are some episodes, like, I remember pretty vividly,
Right.
and there are some where I'm just like, what?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I don't remember that at all. Like, Comet Guy. Like, he's in more than one episode, and I'm just like, I have no recollection of this other random superhero that comes from another planet.
Yeah, absolutely no memory of him.
Yeah, no memory whatsoever of him.
It's the weirdest thing. Okay.
There's one episode, and I actually kind of enjoyed this one, that I also had no memory of, where Megavolt goes into a TV, goes into the
Yes!
TV, and they end up in like the real world where like Darkwing Duck is just a cartoon.
Yes! I loved that episode, and I could not remember it to save my life.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to use Rakarth Flesh for this. I don't want to use that either. Alright, app. App, help. Ugh. Why does it have to be Xandri Dust? I don't have Xandri Dust.
You
I
don't?
want Xandri Dust. No, I grabbed... Oh, wait a minute, do I? Maybe I do. No, I definitely don't. Alright, I'm going old school. Old school technique of using Steel Legion Drab and then a much lighter Bone Shade.
Okay, so Kirk, I'm not sure how old this is, about your dry brush and layers. So earlier when you were, like if you were watching me, like I was just kind of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over. Right now I'm actually working on the layers. So if you're looking at just the red arm that I'm working on, I'm just hitting the the highest points just to get like a little bit of a brighter red. So you have the different layers.
Mm-hmm.
So like have the little dots kind of his pistons at the top, like over his knuckles. Just barely, just enough.
Just the tip. Yep.
Yep. And that just adds like extra depth.
Mm-hmm. That's
minute.
literally exactly what it does.
Might show up better when I'm going to be going over with the Auric Gold
Yep.
over a lot, as well as probably what we say, Runefang.
Yes.
Yeah, Runefang's a touch lighter. I want the lighter bits, like much lighter for his feet,
Right.
as opposed to Ironbreaker. Ironbreaker, I think, is just a little too dark.
Mm-hmm.
And also, thank you for yes. I think this review looks good as well.
Yeah.
I'm working
he looks
on
dope.
it. He, like in all seriousness, he like 3PO is actually one of my favorite characters.
Oh, without a doubt. Also, Anthony Daniels, super awesome guy.
Yeah. I had this theory. Watching episode 4 at one point in time, like just looking at 3PO from episode 4, he is probably one of the most competent characters in that entire movie. But then like his like funny bits essentially kind of get played up a bunch in later movies that make him just like bumbling.
Right.
It kind of like a similar thing that I always complain about. Once also in Star Wars is like Yoda when he's like trying to disguise himself with Luke, he does his backwards speech. But after Luke finds out that he's actually Yoda, the like Jedi warrior, he talks normal for the rest of Empire. But then that sort of cadence becomes like a sort of joke that people latch onto, and in everything since he always has that inverted speech. Similar in Transformers, Bumblebee gets his voice box fixed at the end of the first movie, but everyone loved the little radio talk, and so he just kind of kept doing that through the rest of the movies.
That's
Like-
hilarious. I'd never thought of that.
yeah, 3PO, when he's like at the beginning, like yeah, he's a little worried and stuff, but like the way he interacts with all of the characters, like there's no way you can't tell me that he like as a protocol droid sent with Princess Leia that he was not secretly a spy droid meant to like be innocuous enough where he could possibly listen in and essentially record data and other stuff from hearing conversations in a political landscape. He openly lies to Luke several times about like who's on the ship, where they're going through. He manages to get him and him and R2D2 out from the stormtroopers by lying to them and other like he definitely has some espionage programming.
He was programmed by Anakin. Would that surprise you at all?
Not at all, but yeah, I'm not sure how much like programmed by Anakin was in the initial concept, but yeah.
So, have I ever told you my... It's not even a conspiracy theory, it's like legitimate fact. My breakdown of it's all Jar Jar's fault.
Uh-huh. You have not told me that.
So, okay. Jar Jar Binks is a very maligned character. Like, everybody's going to tell you that. That's fine. Great. Whatever. But the fact that the entire franchise can be blamed on him is astounding. Watch this. Jar Jar Binks was on the surface of Naboo. Why? Because he was kicked out of his home city. Okay, yeah. Fine. Understandable. He was clumsy, and gosh, I'm glad that we don't live in a society that punishes clumsy, because I would be kicked out. And so fine. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are running through the forest. Qui-Gon collides with Jar Jar. Literally collides with him. If Jar Jar hadn't got himself kicked out, Qui-Gon would not have collided with him. Therefore, he also would not have reached the city center or whatever.
Theeb.
Theeb, thank you. And therefore, the Queen would have been escorted off the planet, signed the dang treaty, and the world goes on. The world continues spinning. Or whatever. Then, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan would have had to report back to the Jedi Council. They would have found a probably more reliable ship to secure passage off the planet, and they would have, went right back to Coruscant, never found Anakin, saga over immediately. Not convinced yet? Fine, great. Things move forward, blah, blah, blah. Jar Jar is the one who moved to give Chancellor Palpatine emergency powers. Like, yep. Great, I know he was bucking for it the whole time. However... Anyway, Kirk points out that I'm underestimating how much Palpatine was aiming for the Clone Wars. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but also think about it. Not only if Qui-Gon doesn't run into Jar Jar, doesn't get to Theed, doesn't get to save Padme, Padme is the one that, at that point in time, declares the vote of no confidence in Valorum to get Palpatine in power as the Chancellor using the sympathy vote. Like,
right.
Had Jar Jar not been there, that vote wouldn't have ever happened, and Palpatine wouldn't have been able to rise to power.
Exactly. So, like, yes, I get that my inane rantings are also a little bit, it's almost midnight, and B, a little bit tinfoil hatty. They're not far off. And it's funny. It's a funny thought experiment.
Yeah.
Regardless of what anybody says about Episode 1, though, the pod racing scene and the video game associated with therewith were freaking dope.
Yeah. But similar, well, kind of, I guess, opposite along that lines. Similar to your Jar Jar theory, is my theory that Chewbacca is the most important character in Star Wars.
Oh, I agree with you, but go on.
So, or at least in terms of like the original trilogy and all the other stuff. So, Chewbacca in the Battle of Endor, Palpatine has like seen everything that's going to happen. He wants to do certain things, like blah blah trap, twirly mustache, etc. He would have gotten away with it, except for Chewbacca capturing the AT-ST and routing the entire force, thereby allowing them to destroy the fuel generator, allowing the rebels to destroy the Death Star with Palpatine on board.
Yep.
Like, had Chewbacca not been there, Palpatine's plan would have worked flawlessly.
Yep.
That's the short version of it, but essentially, like the entire Battle of Endor came down to Chewbacca capturing that one
AT-ST. Yeah.
Now, obviously, like you can make the argument Ewoks, blah blah blah. If they wouldn't have started the distraction in battle, like, Chewbacca wouldn't have gotten like the opportunity. So, like, there's a point for that, but.
Captain Kirk points out that Luke and Vader killing Palpatine had nothing to do with the shield being destroyed, which is very true. Luke's entire purpose in that story arc was kind of superfluous.
Yeah.
I also maintain that, well, Star Wars is where he got his start, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this one. Mark Hamill's best work, far and away, was the Joker.
Yeah.
He was also freaking phenomenal as in his little cameo in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, exactly. I love when like BuzzFeed and whatever do like, oh, here's the definitive list of Jokers, and I'm like, why Mark Hamill not number one? Like, and because they've deliberately left off all the animated ones. So it comes down to just Heath Ledger versus Jack Nicholson. I'm like, no. Hello.
And Jared Leto gets no love.
Yeah, he wasn't a good Joker, though. Like, good villain, but I didn't buy him as Joker.
Come with me on this journey.
I'm with you.
Jared Leto, as Joker, plays as kind of this thuggy gangster.
Yep.
Jack Nicholson plays Joker as a thuggy gangster, just more in the style of a noir thing. Like, yep. Jared Leto's Joker is essentially identical to Jack Nicholson's Joker, just updated for modern times.
I don't disagree with you there. But what I will make note of is there's something to be said for bringing an original idea to the table that is the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So, like, yeah. Heath Ledger is so widely regarded as, quote, the best Joker. He's not, unquote. But, like, that's because he brought something unique to the table.
Yeah. I will say he's one of my least favorite tropes of all sci-fi / supervillain anything, and that I'm so intelligent or my plans are so well thought out that everything works so perfectly of things that there's no way you could possibly plan for. It just so happens that it works out for me. Which he probably play the agent of chaos or whatever, but it's just him escaping jail. Okay, this thug gets his henchman gets arrested with a bomb in his chest. and it's like, okay, that guy happens to go to the correct precinct and get arrested and like all the other stuff at the right time.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
as much as that was the best one at the time, it definitely does not hold up as the best superhero movie of all time, the way it was pre, like, I don't know, 2008. when did Dark Knight come out? Up until the point that it came out, or
I think it was either 08 or 09. I forget exactly.
Yeah, I want to say it was right around the same time as Iron Man. But then, like, superhero movies didn't really hit their stride until Avengers, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like, that is my favorite superhero movie of all time.
I mean, it's definitely the best MCU movie.
I just like that it redefined what it meant to be a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Captain America: First Avenger. I really, really love that movie. There's some wonderful lines in it. There's some great plot development. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like Guardians a lot, especially for the soundtrack. Like, oh, so good. But it really comes down to, like, Captain America: Winter Soldier was a spy thriller with superheroes. Guardians of the Galaxy was a comedy with superheroes. Like, they all have that a little bit of thriller in them, a little bit of comedy in them, but there's those two especially redefined what it meant to be a superhero movie. Like, it was no longer its own genre. It showed that it could stretch into other established genres. So, like,
okay.
What?
No. Continue, please. And I'll interject something else.
Okay.
Along the.
Yeah. Like, I would love to see, and for a while, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness was supposed to be a horror movie, and I was like, oh, can that please be? Like, I would love to do that. Well, okay, yeah, The Incredibles, but sure, but, like, they weren't a mainstream established property. Like, I guess that's what I'm saying, is, like, they were their own sort of corner of thing.
Okay, so this is also why one of my favorite MCU movies, like, easily top 5, maybe not favorite, like, completely also, like, unpopular opinion. I really loved The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, dude, I love The Incredible Hulk.
It's outstanding, and like you said, it's not the, like, Captain America: Winter Soldier was a spy thriller, Guardians was a comedy, Hulk was a monster movie. Like,
yes,
the way they shoot it, like the cinematography in it, it is a horror, it is a monster movie.
Yeah.
With superheroes.
Right.
Like, it's outstanding. Like, it's really well done for what it is, and, like, I guess at that point in time it was so early in the MCU that people wanted just standard superhero movies that's, like, it kind of went over their heads a bit or something. I don't know.
Well, the production on it was also an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where it's now studied in film school. Edward Norton wanted way too much control.
Yes.
And that was a problem. Like, if they had done that movie with Ruffalo or similar, it would have been a runaway success. Absolute runaway success.
Yeah.
And also, like, they've learned a lot about marketing since then too. Yeah. I'm with you, Kirk. I have no idea why people don't like Incredible Hulk. I love that movie. Also, I'm a huge Edward Norton fan. Like, I think he's a fantastic actor. Does he rate himself a little too highly? Yes. But my favorite movie of all time is Fight Club. So.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk is definitely easily in my top 5 MCU movies. And I'll, like, also, like, putting the distinction between, like, my personal favorites from, like, the ones I like and the ones that are, like, actually most well made. Like,
yeah.
Winter Soldier, like, I will wholeheartedly say is probably the best made like MCU movie and like best in that terms of quality. But I don't think it pops the top 5 for like my personal like I enjoyed it the most top 5.
Okay, I'll give you that. I mean, so my list of ones that so like I enjoy movies if they're well made because I went to film school, like I studied film, and so the in order for me to thoroughly enjoy the movie, it has to be either really well done or really poorly done. Like obviously the FP is kind of my current obsession, and I freaking love those movies because they're so well. I mean, they are well done for what they are, I guess. I love Hackers, Kirk. I unapologetically love Hackers. So I have a great story about why I've seen Hackers. Eggo Waffles did a sweep or like a giveaway. You eat so many boxes of Eggo Waffles, send in the UPCs, we'll send you a free DVD. One of the movies, the only movie that was remotely interesting to me was Hackers. And I had no idea what it was. I was like, 12 at the time. And like my mom was looking over the listing. She's like, well, who's in it? I'm like, Angelina Jolie. And she's like, oh, perfectly fine. You can totally order that one. And I was like, okay, great. I'm not going to tell her it's rated PG-13. I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies on my own at the time. Long story, my childhood was weird. And I saw the movie, I put it in the DVD player, and I was like, this has, what is this madness? But I was like disgusted and repulsed by how inaccurate it was, but I was so blown away by how beautiful it was. Like, that movie is gorgeous. Yeah, I absolutely adore Hackers.
Okie-doke. Kirk, I am doing right now, since it doesn't actually usually get done on camera, basing. So I have like a plain base here, and what I'm doing is I'm spreading a thin layer of just plain Elmer's glue and coating the entire base of it. And to the side here, I've got just a small pot of just sand.
Oh, so you're doing Tatooine bases, huh?
Yep, I'm doing Tatooine bases.
Very nice.
I guess maybe with 3PO with the red arm, it's Jakku bases, because there's not enough desert planets. Then I'm just going to dip it in, swirl it around a bit, get the sand to coat the whole thing, and then I shall leave it to dry.
Yep, and I'm just wrapping up here on this shoulder pauldron thing. Trying to get it greened. Unfortunately, there is no base coat color in Citadel's line that is the color green that I need, so I'm working with a layer, which means I have to use a ton of it.
Now, the two that I have, so like that was the sand. I've also got like a grass, which is just like a bunch of thin little filaments that are various shades of green and brown.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit harder to work with the sand. I like working with the sand more often.
See, I actually, when I'm using grass, do I have it up here? I don't. Oh, wait, do I? Wait, is it behind the curtain? No. I have flock, which is basically green sand.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Mine's like an actual like fiber, so it turns out to look more like this.
Yeah.
As opposed to my sand.
All right. Well, base coating is almost done on this guy. I'll probably finish him next week, I think. But attention span is beginning to wane. I don't know about you. And you're done, so.
I just finished up pretty much. I got to the point where I did the basing tonight, so like, I would say like at least my two minis are completely finished. So.
All right. Well, it sounds to me like we'll have to bring some harder stuff to the table coming up soon. Both of us finishing at least one model in the last 2 weeks. Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Captain Kirk, for all your wonderful questions. That was like I gotta be honest, that was one of my favorite stream discussions. Like, we had a great time talking you through our process, and definitely hit us up if you got more questions. Like I said throughout the show, commissions are open. Drop us a line either here on Twitch or on Discord. We hang out in the Comics and Coffee Discord quite a lot with our friend Adam. He did all the beautiful overlays that you see here on the show. And yeah, so if you want to hit us up for a commission, Discord is the best place to do that. I am ALD_Zach. You can find me on a lot of Discords there. And Broody is Broody Gambit. Yeah, I will be back on the Handelabra Games channel playing Sentinels of the Multiverse for the anniversary stream party tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I will be back here. I'm not on Realm of Discord much. I'm mostly on. I don't think I'm on Realm of Discord at all. I might be. Maybe I am. I don't know. But Comics and Coffee, Letters Page. Really? Oh, all right. Maybe, I don't know. I'm part of a bunch of Discords. It is what it is. But yeah, you'll for sure. That's if that's where you find me, then hit me up. Yeah, I'll be back here on Thursday night playing. Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to answer questions. I'll be working. I'm almost done with Battle Network here, so we'll finish that and then we'll move into Batman: Arkham Asylum. I'm very excited to get back to that game, and then we'll Battle do Network more. What's that?
Battle Network needs to get one of those bundles like the Legacy Collection and X Legacy and Z Legacy. Yeah,
it really does. Like, I mean, there's more of them, but boy, do they need a remaster or a re-release. Anyway, yeah, so that's where you can find me over the course of the next week, and we can sort. Oh, Battle Network 4 was, yeah, needs to be anyway. That's discussion for Thursday. We'll have that then. We'll talk to you then. Broody, always a pleasure hanging out with you, my dude. This is always a highlight of my week.
Yep, same here.
All right, we will talk to y'all real soon. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
See ya.